Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about what it's like to be in a BSMD program. So I currently go to a BSMD program in New York City. My program is 3 years undergrad, which leads directly into 4 years of medical school for a total of 7 years. That cuts 1 year off of the traditional medical school route. And if you talk to anyone that's applied to medical school, it actually really cuts off more than that. Because although you can go to medical school and do 8 years total, 4 years undergrad, take your MCAT, your senior year while taking all of your classes, apply, get accepted, and go directly into medical school, it very rarely happens like that. A lot of people need to take time off to study for the MCAT. Then applications are a year-long thing. You have to go all over for interviews. It's just really rare that you find people that are able to get all of that done and go directly into the program. So you have to consider that even if your BSMD program is 8 years long, it might be worth taking because you don't need to take that time off to take the MCAT, or they might have better strategies in place for you to take the MCAT during a certain time. My school thankfully does not make us take the MCAT, so I don't have to take any time off to take the MCAT. I don't have to study for an extremely long test. I would consider that to be the biggest pro of my school, is the fact that we don't have to take an MCAT. If you're invited to a school where you don't have to take the MCAT, I highly recommend really thinking about what that means, because I have friends that are studying for the MCAT right now, and it is so time consuming, so difficult, and really so scary, because if you don't do well enough on that exam, that has a heavy impact on how you're accepted into medical school. So I would definitely say that the first perk is that I don't have to take an MCAT. The second pro would be that you are surrounded by a community of people that really want you to do well. The pre-med world is really competitive, and at other schools, I think it's really difficult to find people that want to study with you, want to see you succeed, want to help you. The community at my program is not like that at all. We all constantly support each other. We share study guides. We make them together. We pull all-nighters together studying, we share mnemonics. We do everything that we can to help one another out. And I think that's a huge pro of BSMD programs, is it really eliminates a lot of the competition in the pre-med world, because you're no longer looking at these people as competition. You guys are working together to get to med school together, and you get to keep that same study group going. If you could create a incredible study group in your first year, you might have them for the remainder of the program, because you guys are going to be taking all the same classes. You're most likely going to have the same teachers depending on the size of your medical school. So that's another pro. I would say a con of a BSMD program is that if you do decide that you don't want to go into medicine, you're kind of stuck. There's not much you could do. Most schools don't really have a backup plan for you. Depending on the size of your school and where it is, you might not really be able to just switch to another major. So that's not a con if you're completely sure that that's what you want to do and you're positive. But it is something to think about. If you're on the fence between medicine or something else, I wouldn't really recommend a BSMD program, because once you start, you're kind of just going to lose any time you spend there if you do decide to leave. You'll get some credits, but it might not really transfer. It might not go into your next major. It's just a difficult situation. So I would really do some soul searching before you switch into medical school, and make sure that that's definitely what you want to do. Another con of a BSMD program is the rigor of it. For example, my program, because it's only 7 years, combines a lot in your undergrad to shorten it. So we take general chemistry 1 and 2 combined into 1 semester, which is really difficult. Your first semester, you take a 3rd year bio class, which is kind of difficult if you haven't done an intro to bio. It really depends on how rigorous your high school was, how much you're going to struggle in that, but you're kind of just pushed right into difficult classes. You don't really have intro classes the way that you would in typical college, so that definitely makes it a little bit more difficult. But I also think that if you have the study tools you need, that you'll be okay and you come out stronger. I know there was definitely a learning curve when I first entered my school I did not have the proper study tactics. what I used in high school did not work for college, but I'm going to do a separate video on that and how I think you should study as a pre-med student, what's been most effective for me. So subscribe to stay tuned for that. So that's one con, is that it could be a lot more rigorous. Like next semester, I'm taking organic chemistry 1, organic chemistry 2, and some biochemistry all in one semester. They combine it into one big class. If you're well versed in, pre-med studies, you know that Orgo is a class that makes a lot of people drop out of pre-med. So to combine multiple organic chemistry semesters into one is definitely more difficult than if you were to take it the traditional way. But a pro of BSMD programs, specifically mine, I don't know if all of them have this, though I do think that it's a pretty common theme, is that we have a special tutoring center just for us. So you don't have to pay for it. It's included in tuition. And if you're struggling, like my faculty does everything that they can to help you. Like they'll get you a tutor right away. You could do study groups with classmates. Like as much as you're gonna struggle, like BSMD programs have the community that you need to get through it, which has to be, another huge perk. Like you can't get that anywhere else. Like you could join clubs, you could do this, you could do that, you can make great friends, and you might form great study groups on your own, but it's definitely more difficult because you're not always going to be in the same class with the same teacher on the same timeline. So it's a big perk to be able to do it with other people and to have a faculty that's really there for you. So yeah, I would say that those are probably the biggest perks of a BSMD program versus the cons. The only letdowns really is like if you're not sure that you want to be a doctor and you think that that might change, like maybe it's not the move for you. If you're positive that you want to go into medicine, I highly recommend it if you could get in. And the only other con would really be the rigor of it, but honestly, if you want to be a doctor, like you need to be ready to work hard. Like nobody wants a physician that just failed and went into something else. Like you need to be ready to huckle down, study, do everything you can to get through. And if you have that type of motivation, you'll do just fine in a BSMD program. So please like this video and subscribe. If you guys have any questions regarding BSMD programs, I would love to do another video on it, answer your questions. If you have any other type of video ideas, please post them down below. I would love to do them, and hit that subscribe button. See you guys in my next video.